What's going on, everybody? Thank you for joining me today. If you haven't already, please make sure you hit that like button because that is the most important thing you can do for me on this channel. What it does is that it helps to make sure that those who are subscribed to the channel will indeed get the notifications, and it also helps to push this video through the YouTube algorithm. Secondly, if you're new to the channel or maybe you've been ghost watching for quite some time now, do me a favor and do yourself a favor by hitting that subscribe button as well as the bell notification next to the subscribe button so you can be notified whenever I release a new video. And lastly, please make sure you share this video out on your social media platforms to get this news and information to your family and friends. And that also gives me an extra boost in the YouTube algorithm as well. And with the notifications out of the way, let's get into today's news. And now we are headed to Colorado. And this is actually some really good news. And this also continues to go and show why local politics is so important and is very critical, something that people should not overlook, as most people do. But as we see now with this migrant crisis, we're now seeing how important local politics is. I believe the city, and we're going to get into it now because I'm going to play the video. I believe the city's name is Monument, Colorado. It is a small town suburb about 50 miles out from Denver. And what's happening now is that the situation in Denver is getting so dire and they're running out of money and they're running out of space that you now have NGOs, right? Nonprofits, I should say. They're now busing so-called migrants, illegal immigrants, randomly to small towns outside of Denver. But this one town in Denver took action and took matters into their own hand, and they have officially declared themselves a non-sanctuary city. Translation: if you come over here, we're calling ICE. So let's get into this video clip now for a little bit more information coming from, I believe it is News Nation. So let's dive into this clip here.
A Colorado town pushing back on the surge of migrants arriving in Denver, which is about 50 miles away, unanimously voting not to be a sanctuary city. Officials in Monument, Colorado, passing a resolution to not accept any buses from Denver carrying migrants, saying they just can't afford the cost and they will not use taxpayer funds. It comes after nearly 38,000 migrants arrived in Denver over just the past year. That is more than any other large city per capita in the country. So
a lot of people don't know Denver is getting washed right now by the migrant crisis. It is ugly over there. Denver is, financially getting washed. I mean, everybody's hurting. All these cities are hurting, concerning the cost of the so-called migrants. But Denver is getting destroyed.
Let's bring in Monument's Mayor Mitch LeKind. Mayor, thank you so much for giving us some of your time. First of all, just in your own words, what does it mean for Monument officials to make this declaration?
Hi, Nicole. Thanks for having me. Our decision is not about discrimination or being anti-immigrant. It is about upholding the rule of law and ensuring the safety of our residents, making sure that our taxpayer dollars are being spent effectively.
That sounds like common sense to me. That sounds like common sense to me, a level of common sense that's completely uncommon in states or cities like Chicago and New York. He said, we're trying to uphold the rule of law, ensure and maintain our safety in the city, right? Something that New Yorkers can't say. And we're making sure that our tax dollars remain and stay for the citizens of our community. Common sense. But once again, unfortunately, it appears that common sense isn't really that common once you get into major cities like New York and Chicago. It's unfortunate.
And I think it's important to point out this passed unanimously. Were you at all surprised that there was no votes against this? Everybody agreed to this.
Not too surprised. The budget is balanced. There is no money set aside for the kind of issues that Denver is experiencing. It was never brought up during our budget workshops. So sticking to the fiduciary obligation we have towards our residents, it does not surprise me that we were all in agreement on how our money was going to be spent.
And Mayor, so many American cities right now are being impacted by the migrant crisis. As I said at the top of this, Monument is only about 50 miles away from Denver. Do you think this resolution will stop what's happening in Denver from happening in Monument, or is this more about trying to slow what could ultimately be inevitable?
Well, I'm hoping that it will stop it. I'm hoping that Mayor Johnson has heard the message. It's been broadcast multiple times. However, a city just southwest of us by about an hour and a half, Canyon City, has already received 2 vans from a nonprofit of illegal immigrants. And we're hoping that the smaller communities like ours in Canyon City are not going to be impacted by what Denver's doing, which is they're kicking out these immigrants after 42 day stays up there, and it's really not sustainable.
So, timeout. Why isn't the mayor of Denver, Mayor Johnston, I believe his name is Mayor Mike Johnston, if I remember correctly, how come he's not getting the same kind of backlash that Governor Greg Abbott gets in Texas? From what it sounds like, the illegal immigrants are being kicked out of Denver because the mayor is saying we have no more room for you. And the nonprofits that they collaborate with are just putting migrants on buses, right? And just dropping them off in random suburbs on the outskirts of Denver, miles and miles away, 50 miles out. 50 miles is a long way. That is a long way. They're kicking the illegal immigrants out of Denver and sending them way out of Denver, 50 plus miles away, to suburbs that are way on the outskirts, and saying, you know what, they're your problem. And that's a smart thing to do, I guess. You know what I mean? It is a smart thing to do, because how are they going to make their way back, right? It's not going to be easy. Technically, they could, but it'll be very difficult for them to make their way 50 miles back to the main city of Denver. So I think that the mayor of Denver, Mike Johnston, if I remember his name correctly, he should be receiving the same kind of backlash, but he isn't. All this is just getting swept under the rug. Find that very interesting. The hypocrisy of the Democratic Party. It's just amazing to see.
Mayor, what would you like to see from the federal government?
Well, the federal government needs to take action. They've had the ability to take action all along, and they've not done that. They've allowed the borders to remain open, and they need to shut them down so that we can all collectively figure out how we're going to deal with the influx of the immigrants that have already crossed in.
You know, and Mayor, there are a lot of critics of this type of legislation, this type of resolution. There's an ethics complaint that's been filed against you, allegations of misuse of taxpayer funds. It's an unrelated matter. But do you think this latest migrant resolution could cause critics to take a closer look at everything you and your administration is doing?
They're trying to Eric Adams this man. They're trying to Eric Adams this man. Now all of a sudden they want to look into your finances and see what you're doing with all the taxpayer dollars. And matter of fact, what did you do with your campaign funds? I'm curious. Might need to look into that now that you're taking action, illegal action against these illegal immigrants. How dare you sanction yourself a non-sanctuary city? We're going to have to look into your money now, Mr. Mayor.
Oh, I hope not. I don't think so.
He didn't sound too confident. I'm not gonna lie. Mayor Mitch Lakin, he didn't sound too confident. Let's hear that one more time, actually, without my interruption.
Immigrants that have already crossed in.
You know, and Mayor, there are a lot of critics of this type of legislation, this type of resolution. There's an ethics complaint that's been filed against you, allegations of misuse of taxpayer funds. It's an unrelated matter. But do you think this latest migrant resolution could cause critics to take a closer look at everything you and your administration is doing?
Oh, I hope not. I don't think so.
Yeah, he wasn't confident. He wasn't confident. And it's not to say that he's guilty of anything, but who needs the headache, right? Who needs the headache and all the bad press that comes with that and all the smearing that comes with that? Nobody needs that. But yeah, that wasn't a very confident. I think not. A matter of fact, he said, I hope not. I hope not. And for his sake, I hope not too.
And do you think enough is being done by the government to try to address this? We know that there has been attempts to try to address this. There hasn't been a lot of progress made.
Well, I don't know what the federal government is doing on a regular basis. I know they've been in communication with various governors. Even Governor Polis was at the White House this past week asking for the government to step in. I don't think they're doing enough quickly enough to avert the amount of people that are coming in.
All right. Well, the mayor of Monument, Colorado, Mitch LaKind, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
So that does it for that. As it pertains to the federal government not acting fast enough, that's true to a degree, right? But it's really the president of the United States who isn't acting fast enough, because as we've gone over numerous times before in numerous live streams where I do my live streams covering the migrant crisis happening across the country, literally as it stands right now. And those of you who have been subscribed to this channel for a while now, and if you've been following my live streams, I'm going to say the same thing that I always say: with the stroke of a pen right now, Joe Biden could literally close the border. With the stroke of a pen right now, literally all of this foolishness could end if Joe Biden would simply enforce the current border laws on the book. If he would simply enforce the current immigration laws that we have on the books now, all of this will come to an end. But he's not doing it. He's not doing it. So with that being said, the madness is going to continue. And as long as the madness continues, I'm going to keep reporting on it. So that does it for today's news. Thank you all for joining me today. Please make sure you hit the like button on your way out. Subscribe to the channel if you're new to the channel. Share this video on your social media platforms and follow me on Telegram at TD Media Group. The link to my Telegram is in the description box below and is pinned in the comment section as well. And until the next video, peace and have a great afternoon.